chances are if you clicked on this, you're called to do so, and there is no coincidences in this world. So, you're about to see a video where myself, Candice Coughenour, a licensed marriage and family therapist and Reiki practitioner, and my friend, Becca Morris, who is a licensed professional counselor as well as a Reiki practitioner, talk about what we plan on doing for the 3-3 portal. Our hope is to get as many people that are interested to meditate together while we all connect and create a net so we can heal the world, and also step into our alignment and find our life's purpose or feel stronger in our life's purpose. We are just sowing the seeds for clarity of spring. So stay around, stay tuned, stay listening. And at the end, please look at the links below because there's a lot of resources we have to offer and we would love to stay connected to you. So 3-3, March 3rd, there is a blood moon and an eclipse happening. I didn't know about the eclipse.
Yeah, so a lunar eclipse.
Yes.
Yeah, so I was kind of thinking about this morning when I was walking. So, like, I think about the lunar eclipses being more internal focused. So, to me, it kind of makes sense to focus on like alignment for manifestation purposes under that. Especially, I guess for me, I'm kind of thinking like coming into Ostera, into the spring equinox. My focus for the next few weeks is really just going to be on coming into alignment with my higher self and my true purpose so that by time spring equinox gets here, I feel prepared to plant new seeds for what I want the next year to look like. To me, that's kind of where I'm at with it.
Yeah, I like that. And I know we haven't officially figured out what we want to do, but I am thinking like the separate but together manifestation of like all of us take time separately in our day, whether it's throughout that day or a specific targeted time to really do that inner alignment, inner meditation. Clearing of the shadow keeps coming to me, and part of that is because I'm doing the artist way and it's a lot about shadow work. But I agree. I think the true purpose is there. One of my hopes with our manifestation and doing this on the 3rd is to really clear the cobwebs out and the things that are barriers to my highest self, my true purpose, because I know I'm on track. I just also have a lot of stuff that's taking my attention, and I'm wanting to really offer space for opportunity and clarity for it to come when it's ready. It doesn't have to be right now, but it would be nice sooner better.
Mhm. Yeah, so like when I'm trying to get clarity, like my favorite thing to do is kind of create a space in meditation. So like I'll usually like create like a fenced in space with the intention of this is where that's going to grow. And then once I create the fence, I don't cross it and I may come back and visit it and just kind of see what's happening. But to me, like that also signals to the subconscious that I'm ready for this information to come through. So I'm just literally creating that visual space.
I love that. I think this is going to be one of many of the ways that we are so similar and so different because when I envision myself doing this, it is interaction with the external world before I go internal, which maybe speaks to some of my own barriers. Um, but I will probably do like a tangible fence in some kind of like using my stuff on my altar to make a tangible space to call it in. And then, and again, probably more about my barriers than not. Then once that's in, then I will go internal. And that's usually, it is meditative, but it's not the typical meditation. And then it's a lot of like channeled writing. And I think part of that's just I don't have a lot of current practice with real meditation. So I love that you're going to do this like internal thing in your brain, and then I'm going to do it externally to invite it in, which just also speaks to our own levels and connection with self, other context, spirituality.
Yeah. I like the flexibility in it, though. I think that's what I like about spirituality in general is you can do it either way. And I think when I think about like ritual and like magical spell work type purposes, we're trying to create a symbol and an image because we know that's how it gets into the subconscious. It doesn't matter whether it's a visual meditation or a physical fence, um, or even maybe even both, because that now gives me the idea of maybe do I want to do that and like create that designated space. But I think that's the fun part to me is like creating the symbols that like we're consciously creating the symbols that we know that our subconscious will interpret in a particular way, since we know the subconscious speaks symbols and colors and things like that, not words. Um,
Absolutely. And I agree. I love that because there's no right or wrong way to do any of this. And I think that is often a barrier to people starting this kind of exploration or work because, like, oh, I didn't research it enough. I don't know how to do it. It's like, dude, your intuition's going to tell you how to do it. I used to do so many, like, so much research before doing rituals. And now I just like vibe around my house and collect things with an intention. And then I put it into practice. And my partner said the other day, he's like, I thought about it, but someone had to come up with the first ritual. Like it comes from that intuition. Because he was like, "Oh, how do you know what to do?" And I was like, "I don't know. I'm just going off vibes." And part of that is a lot of not overthinking anymore and trusting my intuition and my confidence. But it takes somebody to do that. And then, like, whether it's replicated in the same way or not, it doesn't matter as long as it's like an aligned intuition, aligned values, finding that, like, what a small frog means to me will mean something different to you. But if you Google it, there's an overarching meaning of it. And usually we're all getting there on the same path, just in different ways. Um, but for anybody that would join us in doing this, it's like you can do exactly what we're going to do. And I encourage everybody to find their own way.
Yeah. And I think sometimes that's what makes it hard to teach it is because it's such an individualized practice. And like when I think like ancestrally and people in this kind of like spiritual way of life, they were nothing if not adaptable. So if you didn't have rosemary, cool, you use something else. And I like that. Like if you don't have to go get it just because it says online you're supposed to put it in this particular ritual. Flex it, do what fits. If it doesn't feel right, throw it out, add something else in. But I do think that makes it hard to teach it to somebody else what to do because you're really having to teach them to trust their own intuition.
Absolutely. It's the most like intangible lesson that all of us will learn because it's a spiritual lesson and it like lies within our own eyes and eye. So, yeah, I think it is the hardest thing to do. And it's personally a lot of blockages come up in social constructs and ancestral trauma and curses and just like day to day talking about it, like it's all, oh, magic is woo woo and silly and not scientific. It's like the more we study science, the more we are connected back to our ancestral start and the literal magic of the universe. So that's a different soapbox for a different day. But you're absolutely right. It's all about adaptability. And women have been doing this forever, everywhere. And the herbs you are going to find in one region of the world is not the same in the other region, but we can still do it. So start with what you have. Like
Mhm.
literally trinkets is my favorite thing. I am a things girly, and that is where I start any ritual. And if I have anything else outside of it, it's great.
Yeah, so I like to work a lot with crystals and I work a lot with fossils. Like if I'm doing grid work, things like that, or putting like a sachet together. I do a lot of sigils with that as well, but I like to pull in the energy, I guess, of the earth and of other
Mhm.
animals. So I work a lot with like shark teeth for protection. And I like to pull that in for sure. And the more that I work with it, the more powerful it seems to become.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think so. Crystals is like a duh, but I have them everywhere. So to me, it is a trinket. But like crystals are this really powerful thing and they really help you align your frequencies. And each of them have a different meaning or use. And there's also that personal use for them, right? Like, amethyst is a great one. Amethyst, rose quartz, clear quartz. Like those are, if you're starting with crystals, I think those are the first three that anybody is taught about. And for me, they are all of the things that I've learned about them, but they're so grounding and it's like going back to my teddy bear in childhood because it's where I started. So there's that nostalgic factor. Um, but I also really like to work with the elements. So I am constantly bringing in something for earth, fire, air, water, ether, spirit, etc. in everything I do. And that's also included in my decoration of my house. I'm learning a lot of feng shui right now, and I accidentally decorated and painted every room of my house in the confines or the recommendations of feng shui without even knowing it, which really just speaks to that inner wisdom, knowing, and intuition, which it
I
gives me.
love when things like that happen though. Like it's so aligned. It's like you can't make it up. Like it has to be real because you can't just pull it out of thin air. It came from somewhere.
Came from somewhere. And like before I started learning about feng shui, I'm just going off vibes. Now I'm redecorating a lot of areas of my life again. And so I pull up the feng shui map and I'm like, oh, I wonder what I should intentionally do. And news to me, I already intentionally did it. Um, every room in my house, based on where they are cardinally, is painted in like alignment with what shui would say needs to happen in that part of the house because every part is something different. Like there's the fame part and the family part and the love and the career and the luck and the wealth and whatever. And I don't know, somehow, somewhere deep down, I must have already known about feng shui on some soul level because it's here and now I'm studying it again. But again, different soapbox. So on March 3rd, we're
Yeah.
we are going to do some inner alignment with true purpose, some prep for spring. And honestly, this conversation started with us because we are licensed therapists and we are trying to build our caseload and we want to invite in energy for finding clients that we energetically need to, want to, desire to connect with. Um, and whether other people are on that same boat or not, I think it does boil down to that inner alignment because my career is just an extension of that.
Yeah. And that's kind of what came to me. I know I kind of mentioned this when we talked before, like when I was hiking last week, is that I have been so focused on like just trying to figure out the day-to-day business type 3D activities that at some point in time, I had somewhat disconnected from my alignment, like to the connection to the 5D, to the higher consciousness. And so that's really my intention is to really get reconnected with that. And like you just said, like my business is an extension of who I am and why I'm here on this planet at this particular time. And even just kind of setting that intention, I feel like the energy is shifting so much. And I feel like I am coming back into the alignment of where I actually feel comfortable and life feels better from that place. And I think that's why, in general, alignment is important. Like our higher self already knows the map. And it's our job to hold that connection where we're, to me, I see it like a light. And if you're off track, the light doesn't come through. And so you're just kind of getting back to where you can feel that connection. And I've been working in meditation just to reestablish that connection every morning and kind of just intentionally holding that energy, holding that frequency of alignment with my higher self, my true purpose. What am I here to do? And making sure that I'm actually taking steps to enact what I'm here to do, whether it's scary or not. We're just doing it.
We're doing it. I love that. So, when you say 5D, I have my own interpretation of that, but I'm really curious to hear what does 5D actually mean to you specifically?
I think about it as like a higher form of consciousness. So it's I guess if you have the above and the below, so the 3D is the physical reality that we see right now. So it has the illusion of being solid, but we know from science that everything, the atoms are actually always moving. And if we could look at things under a magnifying glass, it's not actually solid, but it's the illusion of solidness. It's the illusion that we have of separateness because different pieces of consciousness, mine's being held in my body and yours is being held in yours, and the same for everybody around us. I think the 5D is more about unity, and a deeper sense of connection, but just it's a higher vibrational state where things are not physical. And I think kind of where we're at in time is we are shifting up to that higher state, which I think is why people tend to be waking up more. Like there tend to be more light workers or energy healers around than there would have been 20 years ago. So that's kind of how I define it. What about you?
I think I define it very similarly. I just call it something different. Like that's what I would call a congruent soul or like being in alignment with your congruent soul because I talk a lot about congruent self, which is my physical lived experience in this lifetime through the parameters of what I can understand or fathom at this consciousness level that I have access to. So, what does that mean? My thoughts, my feelings, my actions that appear to be separate from other in context, but I know in my higher self, my higher understanding that if that's happening in this plane, it's also happening here and like here in bigger ways. And I don't have a better explanation or true words to explain that other than I'm connecting to this physical body, my thoughts, my feelings, my actions with my core values in this lived experience. But my hope is this lifetime is one of many in my soul's lifetime that is also connecting to a bigger purpose or bigger values. And then the further that we go out, the less separateness is actually there because I would argue you and I are the same living different experiences of the same consciousness. Um, which is very fun and philosophical. And I don't
Yeah.
always get that deep in therapy because it's like, hey, you're a physical, you are living in a meat suit. Let's just talk about your soul living in that first. And then sometimes we get further into, okay, we are in alignment now. How do we connect to the higher self, which is that like community consciousness? Some people would call that the Christ consciousness, the
Or
law.
source.
Yeah, of source, universe, whatever, God. It's all
We're
it's
all referring to the very similar thing. What I was going to say. Yeah, I think consciousness is a whole like rabbit hole to go down, but to me, it's like we all become fractals of the same one, the same whole. And I've kind of always thought, like, depending on where we fractaled from, like, that's where we have closer connections to people that are also like part of that same fractal, like our soul family, essentially. We're still connected to the person that is very distant. Like, I think if it was a human body that was fractured, if we both came from the head, like, we're probably going to have more in common than someone who came from the foot, but we're still part of the same whole. Um, and it is like, if we're thinking about consciousness, it's like, we're all experiencing like consciousness, we're reflecting on each other to have our own experience of itself. So we're gonna have different experiences because there's different reflections. And so then it like we're holding space for multiple truths. I don't know, it becomes very interesting to me to go
It
down that.
does. And for me, it is a very abstract way of explaining the abstract of everything happening all at once, right? Like past, present, future is happening all at the same time. And it goes back to one of your original points of like, my higher self knows the path. It's happening. A lot of people say, "Oh, I'm envisioning what I want to happen." I view it as I am tapping into the vision of what I already know exists, and then I align to that frequency, like the beacon, the light, right? Like, let's say the path is right here and I'm right here. I'm like gonna get there eventually, but if I tap into that, I might then magnetize to it quicker, and then I can align further physical level, soul level, mental, mind, body, spirit. But it's gonna get me further in this lifetime,
Mhm.
in this experience of my soul or the soul. And who knows what happens after that, Haven't been there, or at least I don't have access to my memories of being there.
I've been there. You don't have
Right,
access.
right.
Yeah. I think that's like sometimes like if we tap into like deity work, like Ellen of the Ways is who I like to tap in when I feel like I'm off the path a little bit, and use her as a guide to get back onto the path, especially if I'm like close to it. But I find her specifically helpful for staying aligned. So I will probably connect with her on March 3rd and
Ooh.
to guide me.
Okay, so let's brainstorm a little bit. What are some things that could be useful to connect based on my lived experience, your lived experience? So you and I can kind of build a foundation of what we want to do on the third, knowing that when the third comes, we're going to go with the vibes, right? We can plan all we want, but we're going to go on vibes and we're going to trust our intuition. I think that could be useful for anybody that wants to join us and isn't really sure how to start. If something like I didn't know about that deity, right? But if that jumps out to me, I might research, I might not, I might use it, I might not, but I don't know. It's like, let's create a laundry list of things that could be useful. And I'm sure we will only ever talk about this much because there's so many things.
Yeah. So I think like I would come up with something to represent like who I am in the physical body and then something to represent my higher self. And I might also like pull in my spirit guides or ancestors too. And I'm kind of thinking like I actually want to create a physical line and I might use string or something to use the infinity symbol to tie it together energetically. Um, but I'm thinking something where there's actually a line to represent that alignment. That feels right to me, for right now.
Yes. I love that. I actually just did a ritual that I kind of pulled on cord cutting, but I have these candles that were dipped, so they have the wick is connected, and I did like past me, someone of present me, future me that I'm going for, and then I put things that connect me to this and things that connect me to this, and I burned it through, and it was beautiful. So I think I'm gonna like lean in on that of I want something to represent the parts of me that I've used up that I don't need anymore that I'm gonna let live there. And then the parts of me I'm stepping into. And it's funny to say stepping into. I'm already there, right? But really being intentional. So I think I will do more of like kind of a grid, right? So like past me things I'm releasing, things I don't need, right? But things I'm taking from that I've learned that I'm bringing into the future me, the aligned me, the full caseload me. And I think on the outsides, like of the grid, I will also have something for every element. My ancestral stuff will be on this side, and then the like future me alignment stuff will be there. So I'm constantly wearing like this is my grandmother's. So I pull on that ancestral lineage a lot, and I've been doing a lot of work with that side and trying to release curses from all that, they all went through. Um, but that might be her ring, or maybe both of my grandparents' rings. I have both my grandma's rings, so setting them in the rice that I use rice as my base. I have to figure out what I want the aligned me to, how I want it to be symbolized.
Yeah. Trying to think. I haven't, what would aligned me? Trying to think what I have at home that I would use. I don't know, it might end up being crystals. So something to release, something that will hold a darker stone to hold what I'm leaving, and then something, a higher vibration, clearer stone, maybe clear quartz, maybe citrine, to represent where I'm going. So kind of just the energy shift of that too. As I say that out loud, I kind of it does make sense to me if I'm trying to align to have like heavier stuff, heavier energy stones at the bottom,
Mhm.
um, and then something that specifically will represent me. So it might be me surrounded with like black tourmaline or garnet or hematite, something heavy that will hold that at this vibration since I'm shifting, intentionally trying to shift upwards. And then
Okay.
also something that represents me on the other side, surrounded with clear quartz or citrine, probably, maybe amethyst as well, but something with a higher vibration that will hold space for me there as well.
I like that. I'm even thinking, so my cousin who is like I don't know how she would identify. I would identify her as like woo adjacent. She is familiar with these things. She is interested in them. She randomly got a bunch of stones and gave me some, and unknowingly, she had picked out a stone for every chakra. And I was like, ah, this is perfect. And black tourmaline, I have so many stones. I've cataloged them. I'm such a nerd about rocks. I have never had black tourmaline. And then I was doing I'm looking at it right now, my vision board that I just did with my friends for Valentine's Day, and I found a black tourmaline sticker. So I'm definitely going to be using her. But I am wondering if through my grid, or I don't know which axis it would be, I put every chakra within it.
Mhm.
Because for me, my solar plexus and my heart chakra are the ones that are often the most blocked, and they're the ones that are the most connected. And I think that's where a lot of my blockages are mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, literally physically. That's why I have tummy issues like no other. So I think I'm going to have some things representative of that, but I like this idea, which is something I'm learning is very important in feng shui with the energy. Like if you're going to get a fish tank, they recommend having 9 fish, one being a black goldfish and eight being a gold black or a goldfish. And the black goldfish is the one that takes all the energy, the negative energy, and is the one that is most likely to die more often, which is so sad. So I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna create that fate for my fish, but I could definitely use it with crystals.
Yeah, I used to, before I was in private practice, I had black tourmaline at my desk and it shattered one day because it
Yeah.
absorbs so much energy. And I think that's the thing with crystals is that they'll tell you when they're done.
Yeah.
They like it just broke into so many pieces. And so then give it back to the earth, thank it for its service. But that was wild to me. I was like, okay, that tells me what kind of energy I'm around, that the stone is shattering.
Yes. Yes. I've had something shatter in my life too, and it's kind of like it's good. It's like thank you so much for protecting me, but boy, is it scary in the moment.
Or having my when I bought my car last year or year before last, like I have an evil eye keychain. My evil eye broke as soon as I got home after dealing with that car salesman. He was
Wow.
off. And I was like, wow. I was like, that is crazy because I had been carrying it for a while. And so I was like, okay, its job is done. Um,
Absolutely.
and
Yes.
thank it for its service. And now I have a new evil eye that I carry.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've had like when I bought this house, I saged the crap out of it, and when I was done, I put it in a glass ashtray to just like let it sit. That shit shattered. I was like, okay, I am glad that whatever was there is no longer here for me. It was sad though, because my friend brought that back from like Italy. So it was like one of a kind. I'm like, okay, thank you for doing your service. Okay, so I think we've made it abundantly clear that there is no wrong way to do this.
Right.
You and I are both going to sit to like together but separately in our own space, our own internal space, physical space to really connect with our inner alignment. But because we've set this intention, we are connecting ourselves. And a while ago, you told me the importance of doing this type of work with somebody else. Can you like reframe that and explain that of why it's important to connect with even just one other person when you're doing something like this?
Think it just it comes back to the power of community. Like if we think about witches and covens, there's a reason that they work together. So I'm as I was trained as a Reiki practitioner, that's one of the things that we were taught. Like when you work together as practitioners on a client, if there's two people, it's not just two people's energy, it's like two to the second, which makes us really like four people. And then if you add a third person, the frequency just goes up because one thing I've kind of explored is I don't know if you hike, but like when there's trees that are close together, it's like there's portals everywhere. But if you stick your hand in between them, you can feel how they mirror the energy of the other tree. And if the tree, especially if it's the same type of tree, that intensifies that energy. And I was like, it's the same. I've experienced it the same as humans. When we're together in community, I'm my own energy, you're your own energy, but then together collectively, we are mirroring each other's energy, which causes our field to grow and expand. And it just, I think it helps us tap into that collective consciousness. We have a bigger net that we're casting in a way, like we're pushing the energy out there more drastically than we're capable of doing as individuals on our own, if that makes sense.
It does. And as you were speaking before you even said net, I was picturing this like glittery, sparkly net that's cast over everything. So,
Mm.
and like I'm in Pennsylvania, you're in Georgia. That is a long net. I I feel I feel good about anything in between you and I in those states that we are now connecting our energy through. So whether people observe it or not, we are giving towards the collective and the consciousness. So if anybody else near us, far away, or whatever are connecting into that, we're creating more thread.
Yeah. With intention. I don't know. I do see it as like glittery and sparkly.
Yeah, and it's like so magically connected, and that grid exists no matter if we're sending intention towards it or not, right? That is I think like, oh, there's a word for it. David Wilcock would call it the like the force or the source field investigations. He did a bunch of those things talking about like a plant in one state that is connected to a plant completely across the other state. If it is injured, this plant will feel it. It will literally scream. So we are all connected whether we acknowledging it or not. What we're doing, you and I are highlighting our connection.
Yeah, with intentionality. Yeah,
Hmm.
and like I've learned the same thing like about forest. When if there's a tree that's injured or in danger in some way, other trees will send resources to it. Um, and so when I hike, like I'm turning on Reiki, I'll Reiki the trees that are next to me with the intention that it's sent to whoever is in need of it most. And it goes through the root system.
Right.
Of the same way that we're connected in ways that we don't see. We know that trees have that root system, but that's always my intention is to send it to, they're going to send it where it needs to go anyway.
Yes.
But obviously, I can't go through the whole forest and find who needs it, but I can trust that the tree that I'm sending it to is going to send it. If it needs it, it's going to take it. If not, it's going to go where it needs to go.
Absolutely. Yes. And the Baxter effect is what I was looking for in my brain because that's the person that studied that. But I think it also speaks to just like why acts of kindness are important. Like you don't have to be a Reiki certified practitioner to send kindness into that net, right? Reikiing a tree, or being kind to your neighbor is all the same thing. It's just different variations of it.
100%. And I like, if you hold kindness in the world, especially kind of with what we've got going on, at least in our country, that matters. Like you don't have to be doing anything like extra in order to just hold that vibration. And that helps. Like people just being who they are with love and kindness in their hearts, that's more than a lot of people realize. Like that has more of a positive impact on the collective. Because just when we touch one person, we don't know how that touches collectively. And then, like for us, I think as therapists, we do get to witness that sometimes because we get to hear our clients come back and say, you know, that thing you told me, I shared it with this person and I shared it with this person. And then we do kind of get to see it trickle down. One time I watched this movie, it was about near-death experiences. And like during this person's experience, she was able to see every action 18 times removed. So like the interaction she had with like between you and I, she could see how that impacted you, who impacted the next person 18 times. I was like, that is wild
Mhm.
how much it trickles without us ever having like conscious awareness of how it trickled.
Yes, which goes back to like congruent actions are important because I can't know what you need, but I can know what I need, and that is the best I can offer you. Okay, so if anybody is seeing this and wants to join us before March 3rd, 2026, please dial in, send your intention to connect in our net. And if anybody's watching it after but still wants to harness this power, it still exists. You can do it after this day. You can still connect with us through time, right? Because that's just a social construct anyway, and connect with this power that we have set on 3/3/26. Now, the other option is to stay tuned because I'm sure we're going to do it again.
Yeah, and I'm already like with intention sending energy to 3/3 and the work that we're going to do specifically on that day. Because, like you said, time is not really real. Past, present, and future all exist at once. So, as we heal in the present, we heal behind and ahead. And one of the cool things I think with like epigenetics is that we can heal several generations behind us as well as several generations ahead. I can't remember if it's 5 or 7, but
Yeah,
think that's insane. But I think that makes it even more important for all of us to take accountability for doing our own work in this kind of now space.
absolutely. Everything matters, and you all give it a second. You will always have another moment to choose alignment. So, I'm circling that date on my calendar. I'm literally sending Reiki. I'm actually probably going to put stickers all over it because, like, that's a symbol. It's a ritual. So it's been great talking with you, and I am looking forward to 3/3/2026, and I can't wait to heal the world with you.
I love it.
See ya!